It's honestly about to get wild, and you're not ready. Hi. I'm the trope known as the mad scientist. Hints of me can be found everywhere. I can even be found in your earliest forms of childhood as the dad from the Rugrats. Notice my very pointy hair, which is a classic common characteristic of a mad scientist. Remember how I used to cackle? And take into consideration my job. I was an inventor. And even if it was only an inventor of toys, I was still an inventor. And I do remember one episode where I created that one really creepy hybrid toy. So that makes me a mad scientist. You'll also be able to find me in more recent TV shows, such as American Horror Story. Not only do mad scientists usually have hair, but we can also be completely stark bald. That's a common characteristic. Another thing is our accent. I had a weird German thing going on, as I usually do. If I had had a sidekick, I would have been perfect. He probably would have been a hunchback. And he probably would have been a little more evil than I was, but not able to pull the job off like I can. People usually, when they think of a mad scientist, remember the oldest example of me, created by M. Shelley, Victor Frankenstein, the man who brought the dead back to life. Yeah. I was a mad scientist. I had all the classic qualities. I wanted to do something impossible for my own personal gain. And it was a low-key evil thing. That's me, the mad scientist. I'm really cool. I'm twice as cool as the next trope, the star-crossed lovers. Hey, we're in love, but we shouldn't be. Because for some reason, the universe or our parents or the fact that she's actually gay and I just don't know it are keeping us apart. And because of that, we are called the star-crossed lovers. Classic examples of the star-crossed lovers can be found as far back as Romeo and Juliet, one of the dumbest love stories ever, but everybody thinks it's super romantic because they both off themselves, to Gatsby and Daisy, which, I mean, they don't off themselves like the beautiful story of Romeo and Juliet. Daisy just murders somebody and then Gatsby takes the blame for it. At least I think that's how it worked out. I've only seen the movie. Or Winston and Julia from 1984. I haven't even finished that book yet, so I'm not even going to tell you how they're star-crossed. Just know that they are, and it probably has something to do with the government. The most well-known, unfortunately, example of star-crossed lovers that we use today for those annoying 12-year-old girls and, a couple other kids in this class is that of Hazel and Augustus in The Fault in Our Stars. My motion, who cares about these white kids with cancer? Not me. Look, the only reason I'm using this example is because I, for the life of me, could not find any examples of star-crossed love relationship in great black literature. I don't really know why that is. The best examples that I could find have been our leads star-crossed with ideas, not star-crossed with other people, which in that case, I don't know if it makes it a star-crossed lover, but I think that you can be in love with an idea and not have it work out because the universe hates you. I mean, that's just me, though. As well as being a star-crossed lover story, The Fault in Our Stars was also what we call in the business a tearjerker. Yeah. Tearjerkers are really great if you hate yourself and you want to cry all the time. Personally, I love them. One of the greatest tearjerker stories is that of Jack and what's her face from the Titanic. I can't remember her name. Rose? I don't know. Especially in this scene where we see them clutching hands and being all sorts of cold, and Jack is about to die because he gets frozen to death, and then she's all like, oh no, I love him. Classic tearjerker moment. Makes us cry every single time, and if it doesn't, hey, I feel you. You don't care that much about white people dying and being in love. You've seen it 1,000 times. But one of my favorite tearjerker moments, something that makes me cry like literally every single time I watch it, and I'm talking ugly cry, is Will Smith and Jaden before he got weird in The Pursuit of Happiness. This father-son story of overcoming obstacles and being poor and homeless, and he just can't catch a break, but he's also super smart with the Rubik's Cube. Ah, man, the story is just so good, and it makes you cry, like, literally every time, especially that scene where they're stuck in the tunnel. Oh my god, that scene. Oh my god, so good. Another really great tearjerker story is Short Term 12, but Short Term 12 is different in that it is sad, definitely. If you've never seen this movie, it's really sad. It's about kids who don't have families or whatever, and it's just sad, and I won't tell you actually what it's about because it's kind of only half of what it's about. You should just go watch the movie. But it's also happy because it makes you cry because good things happen, finally. We love movies like this. They're called heartwarmers. But Short Term 12 does a good job of making it a tearjerker and a heartwarmer all wrapped in one. It's great. Just, yeah, watch it. Let's talk about something else that I love, other than crying all the time. I really love evil things. And something evil that I don't love, surprisingly, is the trope of the evil stepmother. I don't like this trope just because I think it's kind of boring, and also, who cares about Cinderella? And so when I googled this, they of course brought up this exact evil stepmother, whose name I think was Evil Stepmother, who loved her own kids more than she loved Cinderella, and was also a gold digger, as like they all are. And the Google search told me that this is the only example of the evil stepmother that I was going to find, because there aren't nobody in this age uses the evil stepmother trope anymore, because like I said, it's tired and like boring, and if you don't like your stepmom, just like leave the house. But they were wrong, because there is of course this evil stepmother from The Parent Trap, and she was like weird, and remember they put a lizard in her mouth, and she was evil and a gold digger. And that's why she's an evil stepmother. Not just because she married him and became their stepmother. Because she was evil. So yeah. I'm eating M&Ms. Listen, so we talked about evil stepmothers. Let's talk about not that. Let's talk about the chosen one. We've seen stories of the chosen one like everywhere. You know, Harry Potter. Lightning Bolt. Harry Lightning Bolt, you know, was this little wizard boy. And they were like, listen, little wizard boy, it's up to you. And he was like, Avada Kedavra, Voldemort, you're dead. And that's how that story happened. And there was also that guy with the sword. You know him, Arthur, King Arthur. He had to pull the sword out of the rock. And they were like, you're the only one, so go do it. And he was like, I will. And he did, and then he became the king, you know? There's that story. It's a good classic story of the chosen one trope. Now, one of the best classic stories of the chosen one that everybody has been ignoring is Jesus. And I'm telling you this because, like, listen, I'm not telling you that Jesus was real or you should believe in him or anything like that. I'm just saying, Jesus, listen. God went to Mary and was like, yo, Mary, let's get crazy with a baby. You're pregnant. And Mary was like, I'm pregnant. And then after that, Jesus was born, and Mary looked Jesus in his baby eyes and said, baby Jesus, listen, you have to die for all these strangers that you don't know because they're sinful, right? Sin. And Jesus was like, I'm a baby. I don't understand sin. Mom, what? And so she was like, don't worry about it. When you're like old, you're going to die. And he was like, whatever. It'll happen when I'm old. And then he grew, and it wasn't like that old. It was like 18 and he was dead. And listen, that happened because he was the chosen one. That's the trope. I'm not saying Jesus is a trope. I'm just saying Jesus is a trope for the chosen one. So Jesus equals TCO, the chosen one. Think about it. And that brings me on to my personal favorite TV tropes. Well, not TV tropes, tropes in general. I didn't even know this was my favorite, but it's Chekhov's gun. And it's definitely just because I love gun laws. Chekhov's gun is like, if it's not important, like, you don't need it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could be telling you this story about how I went to the ice cream store, and I could be like, so the ice cream store is located on 5th and 6th, and it has a giant ice cream cone at the top, and I was there at 12, and I got vanilla. There were some parts of that story that, like, just didn't need to be, like, said, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't need to tell you it was on the corner of 5th and 6th. I could have just been like, you know, I went to the ice cream store with the giant ice cream on the top, because that's a pretty, like, noticeable thing at noon, and I got vanilla. But listen, the beauty of Chekhov's gun is saying that I didn't need to tell you it was on 5th and 6th, but later in the story, 5th and 6th could be, like, the name of the murderer. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, Chekhov's gun is like, it's like this, it's a type of foreshadowing, you know? Like, the Chekhov's gun in this video telling you what tropes is that I should have written down a script before I started recording, because this is just a mess of a thing, but I'm going to turn it in anyways. And do you know why? Because that's the beauty of Chekhov's gun. We didn't know till the very end of the video that it should have been scripted this whole time, you know what I'm saying? But now that we're at the end, we know that. And that's kind of what's bringing our story to a close. Moral of the video isn't, you know, these were 6 different kinds of tropes and take notes because it's going to be on the final and, you know, this is it. The moral of the story is script your explain everythings before you make them, because it's easier that way and you sound like you know what you're talking about. Because I know what Chekhov's gun is, but I'm not going to go into it any further than this ice cream store analogy story, because listen, we're here now. It's the end of the video, and I love you guys. Thanks for watching.